students, this is your tutor Namonga, and in today's tutorial we're going to focus on functions, okay, particularly the functions that come in paper 1. Okay, so for any topic you're going to learn, especially for math, if you want to be good for each topic, you need to understand that, okay, this topic, does it come in paper 1 or paper 2? Is it section A or section B? Is it compulsory or it's optional? How many marks does this question carry? Like that, you'll be able to at least gauge yourself and be sure of what you're doing. And like where you just open, you don't even know which topic comes in paper 1, which topic comes under the compulsory questions, and things like that. So functions that come in paper 1 carry 4 marks. And these 4 marks, they'll always ask you for 3 components. So these 3 components are, number 1, they'll ask you to calculate the inverse. Okay, the inverse. Number 2, you'll be asked to find the composite function. You know a composite function where you combine 2 functions in one, eh? For example, if they say find g of f of x or find f of g of x, such. And then the third one is they would ask you to find the value given that a certain composite function is equal to 20 or any other number, or they can just ask you to find the value of x if 2 functions are actually equated. Okay, so the 3 things you need to know is finding the inverse and calculating the composite function. So if you know this, then the third question will not be hard. So with me here, I have 3 examples from 2017, 2018, and 2019. So these are questions direct from ECZ, which will help us to understand how to go about answering questions on functions. So we are going to start solving. Okay, sorry about that. Bear with me, I'm holding the phone. Okay, there. Okay, so from the 2017 GC paper 1, it's saying the functions g and f are defined as g of x is equal to x minus 1 over 2, and f of x is 3x minus 5. Okay, find number 1, g inverse of x. We know that the power of -1 means inverse, whether it's matrices or functions. Okay, then the second question, question B, is we're supposed to find x if f of x is equal to g of x. Then C is we're supposed to find g inverse of f of x. So question A is what tackles the first component, which is inverse. Question B is the third component I was talking about, where they either ask you to equate 2 composite functions and find the value of x. And then C is composite functions. So this is how questions on composite functions look like, and they differ from question to question. So let's start solving. So here, A, I'm going to solve A first. Okay, hope that's clear enough. A. Find g inverse of x. Follow through the steps. Okay, so the first thing is you write the original function. The original function there is g of x is equal to g of x is equal to x minus 1 over 2. Okay, that is the composite that is the original function. Then where there's g of x or f of x, you replace it with y. So the next step is replace this whole thing with y. So y is equal to x minus 1 over 2. So number 1, you write the function. Number 2, where there's a function, you put y. The third step is now to make x the subject of the formula. Grade 9 work. Okay, so we're making x the subject of the formula here. What do? We cross multiply. We put over 1 here. Then you can either start this way or that way. Either will be correct. So 1 by this will still be x minus 1 is equal to 2 by y. That will be 2y. Okay. Then x is equal to, we take this one on the right side. So when a number crosses an equal sign, it will change from negative to positive and vice versa. Okay. So this becomes 2y plus 1. Okay. x is equal to 2y plus 1. Then the last part is you replace this with an inverse, so this will become g inverse of x is equal to, then you replace y with x again. This will become 2x plus 1. That's it. So number 1, you write the function as it is. Number 2, where there's this function, replace with y. Okay, to become y is equal to x minus 1 over 2. Then you make x the subject of the formula by cross multiplying. So I put over 1 here and I cross multiplied. 1 by this, to still be the same thing. This by this, 2y. Then here I want to make x the subject of the formula, meaning x should be the only thing on my left hand side. So 2y is equal to, this crossed became positive. And then now you just replace this with inverse, and then where there's y you put x, and that is it. Okay, and then b is saying find x if f of x is equal to g of x. So you just copy the functions as they are. What is f of x? F of x is there, 3x minus 5. Okay, 3x, f of x, we're starting with f of x, so it will be 3x minus 5 is equal to, and then g of x is what? It's there, x minus 1 over 2. Okay, to find x, again we cross multiply here. So cross multiply, you put over 1. As I earlier stated, you can either start this way or that way. Okay, so I like starting from down here. So this by that, it will be x minus 1 is equal to 2 multiplied by 3x minus 5. Okay, then this will be x minus 1 is equal to, we expand the right hand side, it will be 2 multiplied by 3x again plus 2. I'm getting this plus from this 2 being positive. 2 multiplied by negative 5. So x minus 1 is equal to 2 by 3x, 6x, positive by negative, negative, 2 by 5, that's a 10. Then here now we group the like terms together. I love my variables on my left hand side and my constants on the right. You can do the other way around. So I'll maintain my x will be here. Then this one here is positive. So when it crosses, it will become negative is equal to negative 10. This here is negative, here to become what? Positive 1. So integers again, grade 8 work. Here you're just going to deal with what? They have the same variable, so you're just dealing with the coefficients. Here, if there's no number written, meaning it's 1. So what is 1 minus 6? That is going to give us negative 5x equals negative 10 plus 1. So different signs for integers. When you have different signs, you're going to do what? Subtract and get the sign of the bigger number. So the bigger number is 10 and it's negative, meaning our final answer will be negative. 10 minus 1, 9. Then to get the value of x, we divide by its coefficient on both sides. Like that, we'll cancel this and this will go. X is equal to negative, it's negative. Negative divided by negative will give us positive. So x is actually 9 over 5. If you want to write this, you can write it as a mixed fraction. Or say 5 into 9, 1. Remainder 4 over 5. And that's it. That's how you solve these. These are just like grade 9 equations. They just want to test if you still remember your integers and your expansions. Okay. Then the last part of 2017 question is they want you to find g inverse of f of x. So, okay, so these are now composite functions. How do you handle composite functions? So how you handle composite functions is you always start by writing the first function. So in this case, our first function is the g inverse, which we found in A. So meaning if our answer for A was wrong, C is also going to be wrong. That's one bad thing about math also. Okay. The questions are connected, meaning if you get the first one wrong, even this other one will be wrong. So we already found g inverse of x, which is right here. G inverse of x was 2x plus 1. Okay. Now, where there's 2x plus 1, in this inverse function, we're supposed to replace what? F of x. F of x is here. Where is f of x? It's here. It's this one here. 3x minus 5. So a composite function simply means, for example, if here we have g of x and we have f of x. So follow. So if they say find g of f of x, it means you're first going to write the function g. Then in that function g, wherever there is x, you're going to put the whole function what? F. Then if they say f of g of x, meaning you're first going to write the function f. Then in this function f, where you're going to see x, you replace that x with the entire function g of x. That's easy, right? So here we already have our g inverse of x, which is 2x plus 1. Now where there's x here, we're going to replace that x with what? 3x minus 5. That's all. That's what composite functions are all about. So I'm going to write my c here and say g inverse of f of x is given by, you write g inverse of x, which is 2x plus 1. Okay, now where there's x, you're going to put what? F of x. F of x is 3x minus 5 there. So I'll write 2 open brackets, where there's x I'll say 3x minus what? 5, and then plus 1. This one that has remained, g inverse of x is 2x plus 1, but where there's x, I'm going to put f of x, which is 3x minus 5. Then the one that's remaining are right there. Then the next thing here we're going to do is to do what? Expand. So 2 by 3x, this will give us 6x, and then that will give us 2 by 5, that's negative 10 plus 1. Okay, so here these are like terms. What is negative 10 and 1? This gives us 6x minus 9. Okay, so this is how you go about the inverse, the composite function, and the third factor, which can be finding an expression for the composite function or the actual value. Okay, so we continue with our functions. We're going to go to question 2, which is coming from 2018 GCE paper 1. Okay, so how you actually, just a tip for studying. Let's say if I say you go through at least 10 past papers or 7 past papers for a particular topic, you're supposed to answer questions from both GCE and internal. GCE is external, and then internal are these papers written by people that are writing grade 12 for the first time. So when you answer, let's say 2018, like from here I saw 2017, 2018, 2019, GCE only. So when you're studying, you study both 2017 GCE paper 1, internal, 2017 paper 1 again, external, like that you do both. So if I say study 10 past papers, meaning you're only doing 5 past papers, but both internal and external. Okay, so question 2 is saying, given that f of x is equal to 8x and g of x is 3x minus 2 over 4, find f inverse of x. So the first question now here is on the inverse. B is an expression for fg of x. This is the third component I was talking about. Here they can bring anything. They can ask you to find the value of x, given that two functions are equated, like the case of example 1, or it can come like in example number 2, where they can ask you to find an expression for a composite function. Then here they're asking to find the value of x for which a composite function is equated to a certain number. So the only two things that you really must know is finding the inverse and calculating the composite function. So we'll go straight in finding f inverse of x. So what did I say? This is number 2. To find the inverse, number 1 is you write the function as it is. So we're going to say f of x is equal to 8x. I'm not making this up, it's already here. Okay, you write the function as it is. Then the next step is where there's the function, you replace with y. So y is equal to 8x. Okay, y is equal to 8x, and then from there you make x the subject of the formula. That's all. You write the function, you replace the function with y, then you make x the subject of the formula. Just grade 8 work. So here, for us to make x the subject, it simply means it should be like y. Y is not attached to any number. So to leave x alone, we do what? We divide by 8 on both sides of the equation. So you cancel there. X is equal to, excuse me, y over 8. The last step now is to, where there is x, you're going to put the inverse. So f inverse of x is equal to, then where there is y, replace with x over 8. Pardon me, my handwriting is not so good, but at least they are visible, right? So f inverse of x is equal to x over 8. That is it. That is the inverse. And then b is there. Find an expression for fg of x. So these are composite functions. What did I say? You always write the words, the first function. So the first function here is f. So we are on b. The first function is what? F. And f is given by, f of x is given by 8x. So you're going to say f of x is equal to 8x. Now, where there's x, you're going to put the whole g of x, this function here. So if it was g, find g of f of x, meaning you're going to write g of x first. Then in g of x, where there's x, you're going to replace f. But it was given to us the other way around. So we're going to say f g of x is equal to 8, open brackets, where there is x, what am I putting? This function now. So it's going to be 3x minus 2 over 4, okay? There's no other number that comes after x. So we end there. We now do what? This is just simple algebra now. We expand. We're going to multiply this by that, okay? Or if we want, we can actually cancel this 4 here, 1, 4 there, 2. Then we multiply 2 by this and 2 by that. But so that I do not lose anyone, I will just say 8 multiplied by 3x. Again, 8 multiplied by negative 2. This whole thing is over 4. Okay, so what is 8 by 3x? That will give me 24x. Then positive by negative, negative. Okay, and then 8 by 2, 16 over 4. Okay, where are we? Find an expression. Okay, that's why we are. Find an expression. So an expression, you don't have to find the value. It's just an expression. Okay, so this is how it is. Of 24x minus 16 over 4. 4 can go into 16 and 4 can go into 24. So we simplify this. Remember, your answers are always supposed to be left in their most simplified forms. So 4 into 24, that's how many times? 4 into 24, that will give us 6x minus 4 into 16, 4. Okay, so the expression for fg of x is 6x minus 4, which was going to be the same answer if you cancelled, say 4 here, 1, 4 here, 2. 2 by 3x, 6x. 2 by 2, negative 4. But I took the long cut so that don't confuse anyone. And then now we have the last component, which is find the value of x for which fg of x is equal to 20. So as I said earlier, these questions are very connected. So you have to ensure that your calculations are accurate, because you might be asked to use your answer for A to calculate B, or use B to calculate C, or vice versa. So now, we've already found fg of x. Fg of x is 6x minus 4. Now they're asking you to equate this to 20. So, see, I'm not going to find fg of x again. I've already found it. It's here. I'm just going to say 6x minus 4 is equal to what? 20. There. This is fg of x. Then we group the like terms together to be 6x is equal to 20 4 here is negative. When it comes here to be positive. So 6x is equal to 24 over 6 and over 6. We cancel there. X is equal to how many times does 6 go into 24? It goes 4 times. That is all. So in case you're having challenges with solving these normal equations and just going about your integers, you can just go on my YouTube channel, Namonga Chazalengana, and you watch integers and how to solve equations under grade 9. That will be the fastest way you're going to recall how to do this stuff. Let's look at the last question. That's 2019. Question 15 from 2019, the GCE paper. The functions f and g are defined. Sorry, that was supposed to be defined. Typo error. That defined as f of x is equal to 2x plus 1 and g of x is equal to 3x minus 5 over 2. So the first question is we're supposed to find the inverse. B is we're going to find the composite function, which is fg of x. And the last part is we are asked to find fg of 4. So you've seen they are linked. Just know how to find the inverse and the composite. The other question will come from the composite function. So if your composite function is wrong, Nisha, I'm sorry to be bad news. So f inverse of x, the steps for the inverse again I'll highlight. Number 1 is you write the function the way it is. Number 2 is you're going to replace y where there's the function. The third step is you make x the subject of the formula. That's all. That is all. So what is our f of x? There it is. You write the original function. F of x is equal to 2x plus 1. Hope that's very clear. So next is I'm going to replace this whole function here with a y. Y is equal to 2x plus 1. Then now my next m is to make x the subject of the formula. Here y is the subject, so I want to make x the subject also. So I want to leave x alone, so I'll bring this here. Y, this is positive here to be what? Negative, is equal to 2x. Now I can easily leave x alone by dividing by 2 on both sides of the equation. This will cancel, meaning x is equal to y minus 1 over 2. Then now you just replace this x with the inverse. Is equal to, and then where there's y you put x. Guys, that is not hard. You just need to practice. It's very easy. That is all. I found f inverse of what? X, which is x minus 1 all over 2. The next question, B, is asking me to find the composite function fg of x. So here I'm going to start by writing the function f. Then in my function f, wherever I'll find x, I'll replace that by the entire function g. So my f of x is already here. It's 2x plus 1. Now in this 2x plus 1 here, I'm going to put what? G. G, which is here. Okay? So we'll write B, f of g of x is equal to, f of x is equal to 2x plus 1. Then now this now will be equal to fg of x is equal to 2. Where there's x, I'm putting g of x, which is 3x minus 5 over 2. 3x minus 5 over 2 there. But in this f of x, here where there's x, I've replaced g. I still have another one there. I add plus what? Plus 1. Then what do I do here now? I just expand. Let's expand. This is almost the same with what we're doing here. Remember what we did here for question 2? This is the same thing. It's easier if you just cancel here. Say 4 here, 1. 4 here, 2. Because remember, you can cancel between the numerator and the denominator when you are dividing or multiplying. So that will make our lives easier. So here is the long cut because I didn't want people to be confused. So here I can simply cancel this 2 and that 2 because this is division. So I remain with 3x minus 5 plus what? 1. Okay? So this is 3x, negative 5 plus 1. These are different signs. Different signs you subtract and get the sign of the bigger number. So the bigger number is 5 and it's negative, meaning your final answer is negative. 5 minus 1, 4. So f of g of x is equal to 3x minus 4. That is it. The last part is find fg of 4. Okay, we already found f of g, ladies and gentlemen. It's there, 3x minus 4. Now, where there is x, what am I putting? Where there is x, have you seen? It's fg of x, eh? Now here they've said fg of 4. Meaning, in this function I found, where there is x, I should put 4. There, 3x minus 4, meaning it will be. So, fg of 4, this is C. Fg of 4 is equal to 3, open brackets, where there is x, I'll put 4, minus 4. 3 by 4, that is the 12 minus 4, and then 12 minus 4 gives us an 8. So please, let me emphasize this. An expression, you cannot, if they say find an expression for a composite function, you cannot find one value. An expression has a variable in it. But if they just say find fg of 4, meaning there you have to find a particular value. Or if they say find x, if they say find x, you can't find an expression, meaning you have to find the value of x. But expression, don't find the value. I hope that's clear. Remember, math is very practical. You have to practice as many questions as you can. So here in our examples, I've done 2017, 2018, in 2019. You have all the way up to 2024, internal and external. Both papers are out on PPZ app. Solve. If you have any questions, you can just hit my inbox. Okay, thank you.